Last week, I posted a video called How to Stop Bouncing When You Ride. And in that video, I gave the idea that most of the time when I see a rider bouncing, or when I've experienced it for myself, it's because there's too much tension. So the rider is bracing somewhere, they're holding too much tension somewhere, and that stiffness is what prohibits them from being able to move smoothly with the horse and causes that bouncing. And I got a lot of great comments from you on that video, but there was a question that came in a few different times, and it was, how do I keep a good alignment or a good posture on my horse? How do I maintain that without having some tension? And if I'm trying to hold myself in a good posture and I'm a little bit tense to try to keep myself there, then how does this work that I can find this better kind of riding movement? So I'm Callie, this is CRK Training. If you're new here, this is our weekly video show where I post a tip on riding, training, or horse care. And in today's video, I want to explain how when you have a good alignment, it actually takes less effort in order to be able to keep that position when you ride. So you can understand the first principle of this just by a little standing exercise. So go ahead and stand up so that you can do this with me. And when we have a good alignment, it actually should take less effort in order to maintain that posture. So for example, if you're standing, find the place where you can stand, the kind of position of your body where it takes the least effort in order to be able to just stand here. And now notice if you start to lean forward, how little you have to go forward before you need to start engaging a little bit more muscle in order to keep yourself upright. So if I go forward even just a little bit, I start feeling some tightness in the back of my calves, up through the back of my thighs, and even a little bit in my back. And I don't have to go forward very far, just 2 or 3 inches, sometimes even less, and you'll start to feel all that engagement happen. And the same thing happens if you go back. So if you start to lean back, you get out of alignment, now all of a sudden I can feel the muscles in the front of my thighs, I can feel along my shins, my feet get tense, and I can even feel my abs starting to tighten up, again, in order to keep myself from falling. But when I come back to a good alignment for standing, now I can stand here and I have some activation of the postural muscles to keep me in an upright position, but it doesn't take nearly as much effort as when I was getting just a little bit out of the good alignment. Now, of course, we all have little habits, ways that we tend to stand or we tend to move that aren't always good posture. So for example, you may find that when you stand, you tend to put more weight on your right leg, and then your shoulders kind of lean over to the left, and maybe you even slump your shoulders forward. So this is kind of your habit and where you go. And if you start thinking about having a more kind of straight, aligned posture, a better posture, it's going to take some conscious effort, and you're going to feel different areas of your body working a little bit more in order to keep that good posture. But when you have the alignment, it shouldn't be the big muscles that hold yourself there. It's just little changes in the stabilizing system of your body that enable you to keep that good alignment and that better posture. In order to give you another example of this idea of using more postural and stabilizing muscles, Julia came out from behind the camera, and she's going to help me demo another little exercise. So you can also think of this exercise for how you hold your reins as well. So I'm going to have you start with make a fist and like really close your fingers, curl your fingers up, and now try not to let me push you over, and I'm going to push on your shoulder. So you can feel I can push you pretty easily. Yeah. But now we're going to make a little change, and then just close your fingers so that like your knuckles are straight here and your hand feels a little bit softer. And then I'm going to push again. And do you feel how much more you're able to stabilize against me? Yeah. So it's a funny little exercise, but it just shows the difference between when we use our stabilizing system, which was the second way, and the first way where you use like a lot of your big muscles to try to fight against me. It actually made her joints more tense, and I was able to push her a lot more easily. Thanks for the demo. I'm here with Henry, to show you how these ideas of good alignment actually taking less effort to maintain apply the same in the saddle. So the first thing that I want to think about when I'm sitting in the saddle really is similar to the exercise we did with standing. So if I'm sitting in a good alignment with my shoulders over my hips and with my feet hanging with, if the saddle fits me well, stirrup leather straight, and my leg hanging so that my ankle is underneath of my hip, it shouldn't take a whole lot of effort for me to sit here. Now, if I start to lean forward, just like when I was standing and I went forward, now I can feel a little bit more tension through my back, through my glutes, and the back of my thighs. Same thing happens if I start to lean back. I can feel my abs start to engage. I can feel even all the way down to my feet getting tense in order to try to hold myself in balance. What happens to a lot of riders is that they try really hard to achieve a certain riding look or try to achieve a posture that they feel they should have for riding. So for example, they're told heels down or shoulders back or sit tall, and they make these adjustments of pushing into the heel or forcefully bringing the shoulders back and getting tight in order to try to achieve that posture. Where really, if we let the legs stay soft and let the legs hang, and the weight of the leg is what drops the heel, if we soften our back and we use good rhythmic deep breathing to expand our rib cage, we can achieve the shoulder sliding back without having to pull it and accidentally hollowing our back through that movement. So when you're sitting, find an alignment that feels comfortable, open and expansive, and actually takes the least effort in order to be able to sit here. And then when you go into the gaits, whether it's walk or trot or canter, as the gait increases, as there's more activity, as you are working in more and more advanced exercises for your horse, you'll have an increased amount of tone in your body. It's just like you're going to have more tone if you're running than if you're walking or standing. But the alignment stays basically the same. Even though the posture may change, the basic alignment stays the same of your body. And it's again, you're thinking more about using the postural muscles versus big mobilizing muscles in order to maintain that good alignment. So how do you take these ideas and actually make improvements for yourself? The first thing is just start noticing your own habits in everyday life. They're likely going to be similar to what you find when you're riding. So for example, if you tend to have more of a slumped forward posture, maybe your shoulders come forward, you're going to need to think more about when you're sitting, when you're driving, think about allowing your chest to open. And you're going to feel a little bit more of your muscles working perhaps along the top of your back as you feel your chest expanding, because it's different, it's not your habit. But the more that you do this in just everyday life, the more it will get easier when you're on your horse. And if you want to take it even further, look for different types of exercise that use a lot of the same ideas that we have to use when we're riding, where it's working the muscles, but it's working them in a controlled manner, and there's a lot of focus on posture. So yoga, Pilates, dance, or the various forms of martial arts are all really good for this awareness of body and of movement and alignment of the body and how it all relates once you start moving. And you really can take what you learn from those other activities and apply the same principles to when you're moving on your horse. Leave a comment and tell me where you can practice your better posture. So I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the comments.